Okay, so we have a new lawsuit, and with that comes some of the background information about how Blake Lively's lawsuit came to be in the first place.
Blake Lively is a lying liar who lies and gets caught. Honestly, at this point, I feel like there's really no need for a trial. Let Blake Lively keep talking. Let the TikTok investigators keep on investigating. And she's gonna completely snitch on herself, as she already has done.
What is most important to Justin? The 400 million or some kind of, financial settlement to make up for maybe lost work? Has he lost work? Has he lost, people backed away from him for a future project?
A substantial amount of work.
Baldoni filed a lawsuit against his former publicist, Stephanie Jones.
Did Blake Lively really force a former assistant to leak private messages? Hollywood has always been a world full of secrets, silent power plays, and carefully managed images. But every once in a while, a scandal breaks that shakes everything up. And now, one of the industry's most beloved stars, Blake Lively, is caught right in the middle of one.
It's so nosy.
And my nose is so big.
Yes. I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that.
Yeah.
And then,
God.
Just kidding.
No, it's true. That's why we hired Jenny Slate too. Our noses.
Lively's complaint included screen captures of text messages and correspondence that Lively's team allegedly showed orchestrated attempts on the part of Baldoni's PR representative to hurt her reputation in the media as part of a social manipulation campaign.
For years, Blake has been known for her grace, charm, and squeaky clean image. But according to shocking new claims, she may not be as innocent as she seems. A former assistant named Stephanie Jones has stepped forward with a jaw-dropping story. She says she was blackmailed into leaking private texts that could destroy Blake's perfect reputation. So why would one of Hollywood's most respected actresses do something like that? What's in those texts, and how is the rest of Hollywood reacting? Let's break it all down.
So there was mediation, there was an idea of mediation, and both sides, your side and Blake's, shot it down. No one wanted, were you open to mediating this? And the other side said no, because I don't understand why this could and should end, but it has to be them, right?
Well, I'll comment on what I can. In what was filed with the court before the Rule 26 hearing, the question was asked about whether we would be willing to go to mediation, and whether we were open to that. Our answer to that was no. We're not willing to do anything until Justin is cleared of being called a predator, of being called a sexual harasser.
Glad we got our first motion to dismiss. Yeehaw, here we go. So I am hoping that our dear BB will do a video on the standard for motions to dismiss under the federal rules, which is 12b6, because she's better at that stuff than I am. I'm just going to go straight into the content of the motion. And then if people have questions, I'll follow up, and I'm sure we can both try to follow up on the procedural parts of it. But the first motion to dismiss, and this is motion to dismiss all or parts of the complaint that has been filed against them. Each party has the right to do that. And the first one has come from Leslie Sloan and Vision PR. So this is Blake Lively's publicist and that publicist's company. They were included with Blake and with Ryan in Justin Baldoni's suit against them. They were not included in all of the claims, but they were included in some of the claims. And she is asking the court to dismiss all of the ones that she was included in for various reasons. But here's the reasons.
Up until now, Stephanie Jones was a total unknown. She's not famous. She's never tried to be in the spotlight. She's always worked behind the scenes, handling schedules, taking care of logistics, and quietly managing the day-to-day lives of high-profile celebrities. But while she stayed out of the camera's view, she was still right in the middle of the industry's inner circle.
Developments this morning in that heated legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, the former co-stars from It Ends With Us. Now, Baldoni is pointing the finger at his former publicist, blaming her for setting this months-long legal fight into motion. NBC's entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas is here with more. It feels like one lawsuit after another, but this is different.
6 in total, so I'm going to try to break it down for you guys because there is a lot of things going on. So Justin Baldoni's new lawsuit filed on Friday claims that his former publicist, a woman named Stephanie Jones, maliciously passed on data from a former employee's phone, including text messages to Blake Lively's team. Now, an attorney for Baldoni states that this set off a, quote, catastrophic sequence of events, violating the most basic of privacy rights.
Jones says that during her time working for celebrities, she came across private conversations, personal documents, and sensitive texts, things Hollywood's biggest names never wanted the public to see. And according to her, she never planned to expose any of it, until, she says, she was backed into a corner by none other than Blake Lively.
The decision to amend our lawsuit was a logical next step due to the overwhelming amount of new proof that has come to light. This fresh evidence corroborates what we knew all along, that due to pure egotistical reasons, Miss Lively and her entire team colluded for months to destroy reputations through a complex web of lies, false accusations, and manipulation of illicitly received communications. The ongoing public interest in this case online has ironically shed light on the undeniable facts pertaining to the New York Times and how heavily Miss Lively and her representatives were not only deeply involved in the attempted takedown and smear campaign of Mr. Baldoni, Wayfair Studios, and their teams, but that they themselves initiated it.
In a recent podcast interview, Jones claimed that Blake approached her in what she described as intimidating and impossible to refuse circumstances. So, what was so serious that Blake allegedly turned to blackmail? It all centers on a batch of private text messages.
Baldoni's attorney filed an amended lawsuit against Taylor Swift's bestie. In that, he included new allegations and a very detailed timeline that has shown Ryan Reynolds' wife to behave in ways that are despicable. Where I left in the timeline, the shampoo company owner forced Sony, the film distributor, to remove his film by credit, even though Justin Baldoni directed the movie. And we find out now how even more unprofessional she is. May 2nd, while Lively is holding the film hostage in the edit room, she is simultaneously stalling the film's marketing by refusing to approve key materials, including the trailer release. With less than 3 months until the film's premiere, Sony becomes increasingly alarmed about the delayed rollout of the trailer, a cornerstone of the promotional campaign. In a text exchange between Heath, his producing partner, a Sony film executive, and a Sony marketing executive who had just spoken with Lively, they inform Heath of Lively's still escalating demand.
These texts, which leaked online a few weeks ago, immediately made waves. In them, Blake allegedly talks about manipulating casting decisions, reportedly pushing certain actors forward while trying to block others from getting roles. One message even shows her saying a young up-and-coming actress should be cut from a movie because she didn't fit the image Hollywood needs right now.
To the pressure, Lively made a veiled threat, implying she might change her mind about reaching out to Taylor Swift to secure the use of My Tears Ricochet for the trailer if her demands are not met. She is threatening with the dragon. When his producing partner refuses to acquiesce to more time, the Sony marketing executive delivers a sharp and pointed warning. You don't want to play ball? You are going to delay and greatly hurt the movie. Good luck. This stark response signals that Sony too was beginning to apply pressure on Wayfarer, effectively strong-arming them into compliance. Even though Sony had previously said, it's their movie, we're just distributing and investing. The message makes it clear that the studio is growing increasingly frustrated with the situation and is prepared to hold Wayfarer accountable for any negative fallout, adding yet another layer of tension to an already fraught dynamic. And look at this, more receipts.
Texts also hint at backdoor deals with powerful studio execs. Conversations where major career decisions were being made behind closed doors, not based on talent, but on strategy. Real, these messages pull back the curtain on just how much power some stars have and how little the public actually sees.
Late last night, Justin Baldoni's team filed an amended complaint in their lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, the New York Times, and in it dropped an exhibit that is basically a timeline with a lot more evidence, including text messages between Justin and Ryan.
Baldoni used to be repped by Stephanie Jones's company, Jones Work PR. Working at Steph Jones's company was his lead publicist, Jen Abel. Jen Abel and Stephanie Jones had a very bitter breakup, professionally. According to reports, Steph Jones had gotten word that Jen Abel was getting ready to leave and start her own PR agency. She tried to get her to stay, that didn't work out, and then one day, all hell broke loose when she got fired. I'll detail exactly what happened in a moment, but in his just filed complaint, Baldoni alleges that Steph Jones maliciously leaked Jen Abel's text messages to Blake Lively's team, and thus ensuing all the legal drama that I have been covering now for months. Remember, it was actually Steph Jones who filed the very first lawsuit in everything related to the It Ends With Us saga. Back in December, before Blake No Receipts Lively sued Baldoni, Steph Jones sued him for breach of contract amongst other claims. Steph Jones alleges that she had a year-long agreement with Baldoni to represent him and Wayfarer Studios, his production company. And she wants the rest of her money.
But here's the twist. Jones claims she didn't want to leak any of this. She says Blake forced her to, threatening her career if she refused. According to Jones, Blake wanted to control the story before someone else exposed it. Jones says Blake told her, "This is the only way to manage the fallout. If you don't do it, I'll make sure you never work in this industry again." Some insiders believe Blake leaked the text through Stephanie to play the victim, while others think there might be an even bigger strategy at play.
Baldoni's lawsuit contains pages upon pages of text messages that Friedman told CNN are proof that the text messages published in Lively's initial complaint were doctored and manipulated. He alleges in his complaint that the Times intentionally omitted text which dispute Lively's narrative. The messages also show Lively's involvement in creative discussions about her character's wardrobe, with one exchange in particular revealing her own desire for more attractive clothing. Baldoni's lawsuit claims that the New York Times reported a biased story, favoring Lively's side and ignoring evidence that contradicted her narrative. The outlet has, however, maintained that the reporting was accurate and thorough. The Gossip Girl star sued her co-star in an 8-page lawsuit, citing multiple misconducts, including inappropriate comments and actions by him and producer Jamie Heath.
And Hollywood insiders haven't stayed quiet. Several unnamed sources have claimed that this isn't the first time Blake has worked behind the scenes to control what gets said about her. One industry veteran even described her as extremely calculated when it comes to her image, saying that every public move Blake makes is carefully planned. Even more disturbing, some say Stephanie Jones isn't alone. Allegedly, other assistants have similar stories but are too afraid to speak out.
The latest lawsuit paints Stephanie Jones as growing increasingly paranoid and rattled by negative press about her. Press that covered an exodus of clients that were leaving her company and that described her as an erratic screamer. The complaint claims that Steph Jones, who was relying on a psychic, started to plan a revenge campaign against Baldoni and Jen Abel as they both announced their plans to exit Jones Works. So, Jen Abel had announced that she was leaving 2 days before her planned final day. She went into the office where she was confronted by a physically imposing security guard, a forensic data extraction technical expert, and an attorney sitting at a conference table awash in documents. After being ushered into the conference room, Abel noticed that the security guard was posted just outside its doors, positioned between the conference room and the office entrance, blocking the exit. There, the attorney gestured at the documents and instructed Abel to review and sign them. The attorney stated that Jones Works suspected Abel had retained proprietary information on her personal laptop. Abel was told that Jones Works would have grounds to sue if she did not allow them access. The complaint alleges that Abel, who was confident that her computer contained no such data, turned over the device. She was pressured to relinquish her phone as well. She agreed so long as they would confirm that JonesWorks would immediately release her personal cell phone number, which would enable JonesWorks to take possession of the physical device without gaining unrestricted access to its contents. The complaint continues. After express confirmation from the JonesWorks chief of staff and attorney that they would release the phone number if she went straight to the Verizon store, Abel handed them the phone and was ushered out of the building as her colleagues watched in disbelief.
Then there's the strange contradiction. On the set of It Ends With Us, young actress Isabella Ferrer, who plays a younger version of Blake's character, said the environment was welcoming and positive. That flies in the face of what Blake has claimed about the challenges she faced, leading many to question her honesty.
Scene in whether it's a kiss or whether it's whatever.
I mean, we had a phenomenal intimacy coordinator, Lizzie. She's worked on Bridgerton before, so she was extra careful with us at all times, but also there was just a lot of communication and check-ins and making sure how are you feeling, how's it going, and a lot of water, making sure we feel physically but also mentally well just while doing such intense scenes, because it takes a long time. It's a choreographed thing. You have to rehearse the choreography. It's like a dance, you know? Right. It's not just oh, I guess we'll do this and then it'll lead to that. Everything is so specific because it is so intimate that it can get tiring, but it was a great process, honestly, yeah.
Was that your first time going through a process like that?
When I was in school for acting,
So Isabella basically refutes everything, because Blake didn't even just make the accusations that she was uncomfortable. She said that Isabella was, and that Justin was making these inappropriate comments to her during the intimate scenes. And yet Isabella's saying that, no, we had an intimacy coordinator on set and it was super coordinated. You weren't just doing whatever you wanted. So that refutes everything Blake Lively said. What do you think? Does this prove what Blake Lively had said wrong? Of course, she's not talking about Blake's situation. And in Justin Baldoni's new amended complaint, he does say that Blake and Isabella weren't on set together. So how does Blake know how those scenes went?
Some celebrities have also reacted, if only subtly. When asked about the situation, Blake's longtime friend Anna Kendrick said, "Blake is a very smart woman. I think she knows how to handle things better than most." That response left fans wondering, was she defending Blake or taking a quiet jab?
Remember when Blake Lively said this?
He works on everything I do. I work on everything he does. So his wins, his celebrations are mine and mine are his.
Well, apparently this is true. And Ryan Reynolds' involvement in her movie A Simple Favor was due to kind of a lie by omission that Blake Lively told director Paul Feig when suggesting using his gin brand to feature in the movie. So gin martinis are kind of a key aspect of the movie A Simple Favor. And during several scenes, you can see Aviation American Gin, which is a gin brand created by Ryan Reynolds. So not only was it featured heavily in the movie, but it was also featured in this ad. And Blake did this during the ad as well.
Did you just dump that good booze on the floor, Blake Lively?
Oh, yeah, you just want to cook the black. Come on, you should know about style. Look at you. We had such a blast making this film, and I think you can see that when you watch it. It really jumps off the screen, as they say. Next, when it comes time to pour the gin, and you want to make sure the gin is frozen.
Now, the movie can get pretty dark, but in a really fun way with lots of twists and turns.
According to Paul Feig, he was, quote, trying to clear another gin, and Blake's like, hey, Ryan's got this gin that he really liked. He said she really liked the company and everyone involved, but she never said that it was Ryan's brand. She just said that Ryan liked this gin. Was this purposefully misleading to get him to use the gin brand? Possibly. He said, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't like the look of it on screen, but I really thought the bottle looked fantastic. So I honestly didn't even realize the level of involvement that Ryan had in it, but I think it's great because it's a really good gin.
Jennifer Lawrence didn't name names, but she recently spoke out about the way Hollywood operates, saying, "People in this industry will do anything to stay on top." Was that a veiled reference to this situation? Some fans think so.
Now, also this week, there's been some other developments. This new filing from Baldoni comes just days after Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, filed separate motions to dismiss Baldoni's defamation lawsuit against them. Lively saying that she had a legal right to file her lawsuit and that Baldoni is now retaliating against her for publicly speaking.
Now the internet is divided. Some believe Stephanie Jones is telling the truth and think Blake should be held accountable if she really manipulated her way through Hollywood. Fans are calling for more transparency and saying it's time for even the most polished celebrities to face real scrutiny. And let's not forget, Blake was already caught in a lie about having read It Ends With Us and knowing author Colleen Hoover before getting the role. So people are starting to question what else she might be hiding.
Not only has Blake Lively lied about reading the book, but she's also lied about knowing Colleen Hoover. And shout out to Elsie, this creator that caught Blake Lively in the Colleen Hoover lie.
I lived under a rock because I hadn't heard of Colleen Hoover before they came to me with this movie. The reason that I was excited to do this movie is that I saw the mention of your name. I was like, oh wow, her voice resonates with people. How she tells stories and what she's telling reaches out and grabs so many people.
We already know that Blake Lively has lied about reading the book because, I'm sorry, if you've ever watched an interview with Blake Lively, she 1000% has not read the book. That is what the interview gives.
That Christy Holt did a great job transcribing and adapting and growing the screenplay from the book. Like she lifted all of the right heart and soul from the book and all of the through lines of the characters to make sure that we're not just making a replica of the book if it isn't always the best and most authentic choice in the moment. Very true adaptation of the book. Like it is very, very, very true to the book, and that is even outside of the book slightly because everybody came to it given the authorship to bring the most honest performance. And then
She says a lot, but at the same time, she says nothing. Blake never gives detailed examples of how that book was brought to life because she does not know the exact details of the book.
Others, though, are defending her. They say Blake's record speaks for itself and that these claims don't match the professional, polished woman they've admired for years. Some even think Jones is making it all up for fame or money.
Guys, I think we have further proof that Blake Lively has lied about the intimacy coordinator situation on It Ends With Us. And I noted this in the amended lawsuit that he submitted yesterday. I believe it was Friday, January 31st. This is February 1st recording. And I want to just show you this document first, and then I want to show you a couple interviews. Well, one interview and a couple snippets of it that Isabella did, and she was young Lily. The other cast members also unfollowed Baldoni, creating the false impression that Baldoni had done something wrong. On Information always showered on him. For example, Isabella Ferrer, cast as young Lily, exchanged grateful texts with Baldoni during and after her filming stint, which included a number of scenes involving intimacy. Justin sent her a message. You did awesome today. So happy to be working with you. And Isabella says, thank you so much. I'm so excited. Thank you for being a great director and being so wonderful to work with already. Let me know. It looks like something's redacted whenever you need me for anything. Or maybe it was just, can't tell if something was taken out or she just hit enter. Justin Baldoni's so kind. More to come. You are going to kill it. Isabella's loved, so kind. More to come. Isabella, hey, I just got my film developed from when we were shooting. So here's this sweet pic. I also have to say thank you so much for an incredible experience on my first film. I still can't shake the feeling of it all because it truly was life-changing for me. You're such a wonderful, smart, and sincere director, and you created such a comfortable, safe space for me to feel like I could fully step into this role. I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming environment. It will stay with me for the rest of my life. See you soon, whether in the fall or later, and hope you're doing well. X. And then she attached a picture. Justin says, Isabella, wow, what a kind message. He says, you are such a joy and pleasure to work with. Your openness, your raw talent, your kindness, and your excitement made me fall in love with directing again. I'm so excited for your career and for everyone to see you in this film. You have a big career in front of you. Looking forward to seeing you again in September, even if we don't need you to work. Come visit. Tellingly, Ferrer worked with Baldoni when Lively was not on set. It was not until Ferrer spent substantial time with Lively during film promotions that she felt compelled to shun Baldoni in repudiation of her warm words.
One Twitter user posted, Blake Lively is one of the classiest women in Hollywood. I refuse to believe this nonsense. Another fired back, Hollywood is built on secrets. Just because someone looks polished doesn't mean they're not playing dirty. So far, Blake has stayed mostly silent. Her publicist issued a short statement calling the accusations false, defamatory, and being handled through legal channels. But if there's one thing we've learned about Hollywood, it's that silence often says more than words.
Lively alleges that Baldoni and Heath reportedly and repeatedly entered her trailer uninvited, even during private moments, and that they touched others on set in a way that made her feel uncomfortable. Now, Justin denies the allegations in his lawsuit. In another text exchange, Justin's legal team appears to be contesting Blake Lively's claim that her intimate scenes were unscripted and unplanned. Justin's evidence allegedly shows that an intimacy coordinator was present on set, but Blake reportedly delayed meeting them until filming even began. Now, he further disputes Blake's claims about incidents, such as, him and Jamie entering the trailer, arguing that these, actions were not inappropriate. And according to Justin, Blake was at ease with their presence and even invited him to rehearse lines while she was feeding her child. He also clarified that an incident where Jamie allegedly saw Blake shirtless was misrepresented. She was actually covered, and Jamie had knocked and been invited in for a meeting. Baldoni's lawyer wrote, "Both Heath and Baldoni have children and are comfortable around feeding mothers, and Lively seemed equally comfortable. In fact, Baldoni's wife co-founded a company that makes a feeding garment for babies, a prototype that originated with his mother when he was a baby."
So what's next? Will Blake sue Stephanie Jones for defamation? Or will the scandal quietly fade away as Hollywood moves on to its next controversy? Either way, Jones may have put her entire career on the line. Whether she's seen as a brave whistleblower or just another assistant looking for attention, only time will tell.
Now, an attorney for Baldoni states that this set off a, quote, catastrophic sequence of events, violating the most basic of privacy rights. The competing lawsuits, now 6 in all, gained attention in December, with Lively's lawsuit against Baldoni for harassment and an alleged smear campaign perpetrated by Baldoni and his publicity team. Jones has also sued Baldoni, claiming he and his publicity team conspired to harm her and steal her clients in conjunction with their efforts to allegedly launch a smear campaign against Lively. Now, an accusation that the publicists working with Baldoni have repeatedly denied. And in a statement to NBC News about Baldoni's latest lawsuit against her, Jones's attorney said this in part, quote, "Having no facts or evidence, we see a familiar playbook. Smear our client, culminating in the work of fiction masquerading as the counterclaims that were filed yesterday."
But one thing's for sure, this story has sparked a serious conversation about power, control, and secrecy in Hollywood. Whether the claims are true or not, it's a reminder that in an industry built on image, the truth is often a lot messier than what we see on screen. So what do you think? Is Blake Lively hiding something, or is this just another assistant looking for their moment in the spotlight? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's biggest scandals. Because in this town, truth is always stranger than fiction.